Hello and welcome to BimBum Cars. For years I dreamed of importing a car from Europe to the US, and last summer I finally did so with this 1975 Mini Cooper. And today I want to share how I brought it into the country so you can do the same. Importing the car was an extremely rewarding process, but it was also daunting and difficult to find information about how to do it. So my goal today is to share with you how I brought this car into the country so that you can be confident to do the same. First, I want to quickly touch on why you'd want to import a car to the US. And there's a number of reasons, but the biggest one is just that in Europe, there's a lot of interesting cars you can purchase and import that you can't otherwise easily get here. Some of these examples are old hot hatches like original Volkswagen Golf GTIs or Peugeot 205 GTIs, Land Rover Defenders. There's just a number of really interesting cars like this Mini as well. So you can get more rare and interesting cars and also sometimes save money while doing it. I'm going to break this video down into 3 sections. First, I want to talk about purchasing a car in Europe and what you need to look for when you're buying a car abroad. Second, I want to talk about the logistics of shipping the car from Europe to the United States and everything you need to learn around that. And then finally, I want to talk about what it takes to register the car in the US once it arrives. So first, we're going to talk about purchasing a car in Europe to bring into the US. And we first need to talk about the rules around importing a car into the country. There's both federal and state regulations that you need to make sure you follow. At the federal level, the most important thing is that the car is over 25 years old. There's some exceptions to this if you have a really special car or something like that, but unless it's a really special car, you're not going to be able to go around that. So 25 years is a must. Second of all, at the federal level, the car can't be heavily modified. When Custom inspects the car, they're going to look at the engine, they're going to look at the frame, the body, and make sure that everything appears to be original. The federal rule that cars cannot be heavily modified is the one that gets a lot of people in trouble. There's videos online of Land Rover Defenders that were imported being crushed after Customs found that they were newer cars that had a different VIN to make them look older. There's also examples of people importing cars from Japan that have swapped engines or really heavily modified parts, and Customs will either crush the car or they'll send it back. So when you buy the car, it's really important to make sure that everything is true, that all the paperwork matches, that the VIN on the frame and the title match, and that everything just aligns properly, and then you won't have any issues importing it. At the state level, there's other rules as well. California, for example, has really strict importing regulations, so if the car is 1968 or later, it's going to be really hard to bring in. But Washington, where this car is registered, it wasn't that difficult. So you'll have to call the DMV and make sure you just talk to them about what rules you need to follow, and they'll be happy to provide more information. So next we need to talk about actually finding the car. I found using the website Autoscout24.com worked really well. It's a classified website that has a lot of cars throughout Europe that you can easily find, and it makes it easy to reach out to the sellers as well. There's a lot of other similar websites too. Another thing to consider is whether you're going to buy it from a private party or a dealership. I bought this car from a private party, and there's advantages and disadvantages. The advantages were that I got the car for a slightly better price than I would have through a dealership. However, it was more work and I had to really vet the seller to make sure that I wasn't going to get scammed or ripped off when I sent the money away. Dealerships can sometimes make it a lot easier because they have experience working with international buyers, they can help handle some of the logistics, and they have a reputation to uphold, so they're probably not going to take your money. Finally, when you're buying the car in Europe, you need to think about where you're going to purchase it. One big thing to keep in mind is that ground transportation within Europe is really expensive. So if you buy it in the middle of a country and have to transport it to the port, that ground transportation is going to end up costing a lot more than sea transportation otherwise. Most of the ports are located in Northern Europe, so in the Netherlands, Belgium, Northern Germany, or the UK. So if you buy the car somewhere else, you will first have to ship it up there, and then you'll have to bring it on another boat to the US. I bought this car in Spain and I got a slightly better deal in Spain, and additionally I had to worry a little bit less about rust. However, I had to take it first on a boat from Barcelona up to northern Germany, and then second it took a boat to the US. So buying it near a port is pretty important if you want to simplify the logistics and save a little money. And additionally, if you're able to find a good car and a good deal and a seller that you like near one of the northern ports that has easier shipping access to the United States, there's advantages to that as well. So the next thing we need to talk about is shipping. And this for me was the most daunting process. There wasn't a lot of information about shipping the car online, and I had to find out a lot of how this worked by myself. But the thing that really helped was finding a good shipping agent. I found a company in the United States who worked close to the port that I imported the car to, and they were able to set up the shipping, arrange the logistics, make sure that I knew which boat the car would be on, and finally help with clearing customs once the car arrived in the United States. I would recommend finding a shipping agent near the port that you're importing the car to or exporting the car from, because then they'll be able to really help on one side or another of the process, making sure that everything goes smoothly. Another thing that you need to think about is how you want to ship the car, and there's two different types of ships it can go on. The first, which is what I did, was a ro-ro ship, which stands for roll on, roll off. This is like a large ferry. They load a bunch of cars in, turn them off, strap them down, and they make it to the port and get emptied there by people that work at the port. Additionally, you can put the car in a container. The container is going to cost a little bit more, but it's at times a little bit safer, and you can also put more stuff in the car. When you're shipping ro-ro, the car needs to be completely empty. It has to have no gas, nothing in it, nothing at all. So if you want to bring other stuff home from Europe as well, shipping in a container might be the best option. Second, you need to get the car to the port. Once you have the shipping arranged, the shipping agent will give you both a date and a place that the car needs to arrive at in order for it to make it onto the boat. And you need to make sure that the car in Europe arrives at the port at the right location at the right time. I was able to work with the seller, and part of the negotiation when I bought the car was that they would drop the car off at the port at the time that I specified. Dealerships are also easy to work with here because a lot of them have experience transporting cars, so it can be really easy to work with one of them and have the car dropped off by the dealership at the port. If not, there's a lot of good shipping agents abroad who can help arrange the transportation. So you can reach out to different logistics companies near where the car is being sold, and they can help arrange the transportation for a bit of a fee. Once the car is delivered at the port at the right time, the seller is going to sign some paperwork, make sure that the car is unregistered in Europe, and the shipping company is going to deal with the rest. From there onwards, it's just a matter of waiting for the car to ship and arrive in the country. The shipping agent can tell you exactly what ship it's on, and there's a lot of good tracking websites online where you can watch the ship live as it goes. This is something that I thought was a lot of fun, and I got to see the ship as it went, and I got to know when the ship was going through the Panama Canal, and I was able to see some of the videos there as it went through. So it was interesting to watch the ship go as it made its way back to the United States. So after waiting and waiting and watching the car make its way to the United States, the ship will finally arrive. However, you still have to wait another week or so. First of all, the car needs to be unloaded from the ship, and second of all, it needs to clear customs. Ideally, you'll work with an agent who can help clear the car from customs. And what's going to happen is, after the car is cleared and ready to be picked up, they'll send you an email with information that you can print out and bring to the port. When you arrive at the port to pick up the car, you present the information that they sent, it'll get signed off, and you can pick up the car. So you've purchased a car in Europe, put it on a boat and shipped it to the United States, and you've had it clear customs and are ready to pick it up. Finally, before you drive the car, you need to make sure that it's registered in your state. Now, the rules about registering a car really vary state by state, so the most important thing is to get in contact with your state's Department of Motor Vehicles and understand what's needed to register it. For my car, I registered it in the state of Washington where I live, and it wasn't that difficult to do. I had to bring the car's original title, a certified translation of the title because it was in Spanish, the import documents that were provided when I picked the car up at the port, and finally a valuation for the car, which I just printed out from the Hagerty website, saying that the car is worth what I claimed when I imported it to the United States. With those documents, I was able to register the car really easily, and I got a temporary license plate within about 30 minutes. Now, some states are different, and it's really important, again, to make sure that you understand that and prepare as much as you can ahead of the car arriving so that the process is as seamless as possible. Additionally, some states let you get a permit to drive the car temporarily before actually registering it so that you can transport it from the port to the DMV. And if you're in a state that allows that, I'd highly recommend it because then you can easily pick the car up at the port. You don't have to put it on a trailer or anything. And you can register it about a week or two later. Thank you so much for watching the video, and the main thing I want you to take away is just that it's a daunting process, but it's really not that difficult, and it's really rewarding once you have the car in the country and you get to go on some fun drives. Feel free to comment below if you have any questions that I didn't cover, and I'm happy to expand more on anything, and additionally, subscribe if you want to see any more videos like this. Again, thank you so much.